Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio, here with Amanda Hall Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. And it's absolutely a gorgeous spring day here. The sun's shining and we're getting ready for the warmth. So I think we need to take a little brief second and really sort of hold hands and send our prayers out for the Carolinas in the US of A, with Hurricane Florence now ready to sort of bear down on them over there. And it's a big worry for everybody that lives in those sort of areas, because anytime we have Mother Nature involved, we always know that it's an unpredictable situation. I mean, we can't stop the weather, but we just hope and pray everybody's going to be safe and there's going to be no loss of life. I mean, you can always rebuild a house, but you can't rebuild a life. So let's kick the show off this evening with the Simply Tarot card of the week, which is the Seven of Wands. Now, the Seven of Wands is a sort of a rather ambiguous sort of card, because if you look closely at it, he's got 6 wands in front of him and he's got one in his hand, which he seemingly seems as if he's over the top of the situation. So the meaning of the card is frustration. You are able to overcome your frustrations. You are on top of the situation. So when you draw this card, even though you may still feel as if your life's not going quite the way that you want it to, or you feel that there could be more work to be done on the situation, know that you do have the upper hand, that you are in control. You will see the light at the end of the tunnel and things will improve. So I'm going to take this as an extremely positive card, considering the weather event in the USA that we just spoke about. And I know there's other weather events going on around the world, but this is the one that's taking precedence at the moment. And let's hope that everybody is as prepared as they can possibly be and they're on top of the situation. Now, for the rest of us around the world that don't have a weather event, it may just apply in the fact that many areas of our lives now, we're finally feeling like we're back in the driver's seat and we can start to take control. So I think that's a positive way to kick the show off. So it's always interesting as we work through what's happening as we glimpse through the universe each week. And I want to start with that first this week. This week we've got the planet Mercury, the planet of communication that I often talk about on the show, is holding hands with the sun. Now, when Mercury holds hands with the sun, it's a time when we can have some amazing breakthroughs as far as thinking is concerned, and things coming from our core centre, from where we get our passion, our drive, our excitement from. And I'm happy to report, because the sun and Mercury is sitting in Virgo at the moment, and it's the Virgo energy that we're working with at the moment, it's a time of where we can sort of go inside ourselves and get some answers. And the Virgo energy is known for very practical, logical ways of looking at things, being able to analyse details, to be able to sidestep the emotion and just get to the raw facts of what needs to be going. It's also the perfect time if you've been struggling with a health issue and you're looking to find the right doctor or the right treatment or recommendation of medication or supplements or whatever. Now's the perfect time to do your research on that, because Mercury will enhance that, will enable you to get to the core of the issue. And I'm not saying we can all get miraculously cured, but we can certainly find some breakthroughs in that area. For other people that might just want to be sort of analysing their life and looking at where things are going, this is also a perfect time to do some soul searching. We're on the tail ends now of the new moon that we've just had in Virgo, so it's still a little bit of power sort of sitting there. So it's a really perfect time to be sort of sorting those sort of things out. So that leads me on to the candle of the week. And this week we are working with the Virgo candle, because it is the Virgo time of the year. So if we were going to be looking at bringing in something into our lives, you may have a health issue that you want to resolve. You might want to get your physical fitness back into shape. You might want to look at your diet, your exercise, or maybe just want to sort of look at slowing down a little bit. All of these things are appropriate. So it's the perfect time to write your little list about what you would like to attract in your life, or maybe what you want to release in your life. If you've had a niggling health issue, well, maybe you might want to release that and send it out to the universe and say, thanks very much, I'm done with that now. Someone else can have it. I no longer need to have arthritis in my big toe. I wouldn't want to deprive someone else of the pleasure. Sometimes I think we've got to put a little bit of humour into things as well. We can't always be deadly serious, and I like to mix things up. So if you're working with one of my extra large candles, we've got 2 wicks. I like to burn one side one day and one side the next day. It just gives you a longer burn time, up to about 100 hours out of an extra large candle. It also is something that's really important to understand, is the soy wax itself doesn't get hot, but the glass containers do. So for that reason, I always put my glass container on a cork coaster before I place it onto my furniture or on my cupboard. That way it also helps the glass container to not get as hot and maybe crack from the changes in temperature that we can have from time to time. It also is much safer way of burning a candle. Never blow a candle out. They say that that's bad luck, that you upset the pixies. I don't know. I tend to use a candle snuffer, or I use a plate or a lid or something like that to do that for me. So if you haven't got, and if you don't want to work with a flame, you can always work with a wax melt warmer. These you can pick up in your department store or your $2 shop or something like that. Here in Australia, they retail for around about $15 at the local supermarket. This is an electric one with a little button on the side. What I do is, I'm not using my candle, is I take about half a teaspoon out of my candle that I would have burnt. This time it would be the Virgo candle. And I place that in my melt warmer, write my list out again, pop my list underneath the melt warmer, put the melt warmer on a coaster as well, plug it in, turn it on, and I can safely leave that going all day as I'm, moving around my home and, from one room to another, into my office and back out into my living area, so that I don't need to be babysitting the candle, where I never leave a candle unattended. So that's just another option you've got. For those of you that might want a small option, you might still want to have candles, but you want to take them when you're travelling or take them into the office. This is our travel pack. You can choose any one of the 28 candles we have in our range. This week I've made the travel pack up of 3 Virgo candles, or 3 Earth sign candles. These burn for about 15 minutes, so the same principles apply. So we've covered the candle of the week, but I also want to sort of look at, before we move on to taking our first caller, each week we have a little astrological segment where we talk about a famous singer, and we've been working our way through the zodiac. And this week I'm really excited to say I'm going to be talking about a fellow Sagittarian. And our fellow Sagittarian is Tina Turner. Now, most of you would know Tina Turner, because Tina is just the epitome, I think, of energy, of excitement, of somebody that she comes out on stage, or you hear one of her music clips and you just immediately feel uplifted. You feel like you want to get up and dance. Tina Turner didn't have an easy life. She had an extremely difficult life. She married a man by the name of Ike Turner, who was an absolute a-hole. And he was a good singer, and he, in the early stages, I think, was probably quite good to Tina. But as she started to emerge as more of the star than he was, I think this is when the jealousy set in, that he really wanted to try and control and dominate her. And he used to be very physically and emotionally abusive to her. It took her a very, very long time before she plucked up the courage to make changes in her life. And that came about from her finding her new direction in life and following her faith in a form of religion that gave her the strength to be able to get up and walk out that door. Now, it's very, very interesting, because when Tina left Ike Turner, she requested nothing except her name. And a lot of people thought she was crazy to do that. Why wouldn't she demand some of the money that had been made throughout the time of their relationship and marriage? But the way she sort of felt was she wanted nothing to do with him. She felt if she still had her name, she had her talent. She had her ability to knock on a door and say, "Hi, I'm Tina Turner, I want a job. I want to sing. I want to do this. I want to do that." And that was the only thing that she took from her marriage, was her name. She's a prolific songwriter, singer, dancer, actress. There's too many things to mention that Tina Turner's done. She's affectionately known as the Queen of Rock and Roll, and I don't think anybody would dispute that. And Tina's, sung an amazing songs over the year, from Nutbush City and too many to mention. But the one that I think that really says it all about Tina is What's Love Got to Do with It? If you haven't seen the DVD movie on that song, on Tina's life, it is well worth renting it or downloading it and watching it. I know I watched it many, many years ago, and it was a time in my life where I was going through a lot of changes, and I suppose questioning what I was doing in my life and my personal life. And I remember, walking into a video store and seeing that there, and sort of grabbed it off the shelf and thought, oh, that'll do. I like Tina Turner. Didn't realise it was about her life and her story. And I watched the movie about 3 times, and I can certainly say it was life-changing for me. The message that she conveyed during that movie, that nothing was impossible. We just have to believe in ourselves, and it doesn't matter what your situation is, how downtrodden you feel, or how unfair you think life is. It is entirely up to you to get up and change your destiny. And I had even more respect for that woman after I watched that movie, because I thought this is something that empowers women. It shows them that you can take your power back no matter what. So we salute you, Tina Turner. She's turning 70 this year, and an amazing, amazing, amazing woman. And she's got such a powerful voice. I know here in Australia a few years ago they had her singing one of her favourite songs, and it was the backing track to the local football here, the football competition. Well, football tickets went through the roof for the seasons. They had Tina Turner as their mascot, and it really sort of drove women to the football matches with their husbands and partners and things like that, and it's never sort of faltered ever since. So it's amazing what the power of music can do. So we're going to take our very, very first call now. We're going to have talk to Kelly in Melbourne. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
Very well. It's really nice to talk to a fellow Aussie. How are you?
I love Tina, and I love that song you mentioned as well.
Yeah, very amazing.
Hello.
So how can we help you tonight, Kelly, or today here in Australia? Have you got a question for me?
Yep, I have. I don't know if you can help me, but I'll just put it out there. I lost someone recently who was very close to me, and life's been a bit tough adjusting, and so just wanted a bit of guidance, really.
Okay. There's never any guarantee that the person that you've lost recently or a long time ago is necessarily going to come through in a very short time that we've got here on air. But what I can say to you is everything that you're experiencing is not unnatural. You know, I'm picking up around you. It's sort of like the whirlwind. It's like, you know, the clothes going round and round and round of the agitator of the washing machine, and that's how you sort of feel, as if your life is just sort of going round and round in circles and you want somebody to stop it. You will start to gain control soon. I don't know that you've necessarily shed enough tears yet. They keep showing me the sign of you damming all the tears up. You're not letting them flow. Have you let some flow? Is there a reason why you're stopping them?
Because I feel like I have to be strong for my children at the moment.
So was it their father that you lost?
Yep.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. As one widow to another widow, and I lost my children's father when they were very young, can I share with you just this little piece of wisdom? You don't have to be too strong for them. Show them that you're human. Show them that you do have tears, because otherwise they'll think you didn't love him. And that's the mistake I made, because I did my grieving in private, thinking like you, I had to be this super strong woman for my children, that, you know, they had to see me coping. And many, many years later, they questioned whether or not I really loved their dad, because they never saw me cry. So can I suggest to you, just let the tears come when it's natural. Don't force them. Don't try and stop them, unless, of course, you're in a place that's inappropriate. But try and be as open and as honest as you can with your children about how they're feeling, how you're feeling. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. And I think that's the one thing that we don't discuss enough in Australia, is the grieving process. We tend to think it's something that we'll talk about later, or it's all too hard. But it's a very, very natural part of life. And what we fail to realise, I think, as adults, is children suffer the same grief, probably more so than we do, because they don't understand what it's about. They don't understand, were they in some way to blame for this? You know, maybe if I'd eaten my peas, Daddy'd still be here. And, you know, that might sound simplistic to us as adults, but we don't know whether that's what's going through their mind. So how old are the children?
16.
It's still a difficult age, though, isn't it, to lose a parent?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I mean, it's still a very difficult age, no matter what age they are, you know, but I mean, at that age, that's probably even worse than being a lot smaller, because you don't understand why this has happened to you. Was it a sudden situation?
He had cancer, but he hid how bad it was from us, so we only really had 5 days to prepare ourselves.
Right.
But he wasn't going to make it.
Okay, because to me it was sudden. I did hear, well, 5 days was sudden. That's
it happened really quick. Yeah, it happened really quick.
Yeah. But can I say I think your husband did that for the reasons of love, not to be cruel. I think he did it because he thought he was protecting everybody, that he thought it would be kinder this way, it would be easier. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, who are we to say? I mean, he did what he believed was right out of the love of his family. So that's what we have to remember. Can I suggest to you, don't expect some sort of great sign or symbol from him straight away. You know, like people come through from the other side in their own way, in their own time when they're meant to. We don't always get it in the way. Right?
I feel him when I play music, funnily enough.
Yep, that's good. Yep, that's what I mean. He'll find his own way of coming through, because it's not always in a vision or, you know, what we see in the movies. It'll be in things like a song, or you get up in the morning and all the photographs on the sideboard have been moved, and you think, now I know they were straight when I went to bed last night. Well, that'll be just his way of showing you something, or turning a light on, or turning the television on, or whatever. So don't ignore that. If you feel him through certain songs, then have a conversation with him out loud, because that will actually strengthen the connection between the two of you. Sometimes you'll get something out of the corner of your eye and you look and you go back and look again and there's nothing there. That can also be him. So just acknowledge that and say, darling, I know it's you, and, you know, I hope you're feeling okay today, or whatever. Just the more you have a conversation out loud, the stronger we make the connection, because they realise then that they've actually connected with you. If you only do it in your mind, they're not certain that they've actually been able to penetrate or get a message through to you. So is it a boy that lost his father?
Pardon?
Is your child a boy?
I have two children. My boy wasn't his father, but, you know, he was like a father to him. That was actually his 16-year-old daughter.
The reason I asked that, because he's showing me the boy is the one that's struggling the most.
Yep.
I'm not saying he's not concerned about his daughter, but I'm just saying he was showing, pushed the boy.
No, I know what you're saying.
And said that he's the one that's struggling the most, and he's the one we've got to keep the most eye on, because I think he's internalising it. He's not expressing it in any way. You know, that's sort of when they can get themselves into predicaments that they don't need to be in, because they don't understand the rawness of the grief. Can I suggest to you to either go to the library or go online and buy yourself a book called On Death and Dying? Now, this is written by a death expert, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. It's the best of the books that she ever wrote, and that will explain to you all the different stages of grief. Your children are old enough that you can hand it to them to read too, so that then they can understand things a little bit easier than what they would without having, you know, they mightn't want to come to you with it, is what I'm saying, where if that book's just laying around, they'll pick it up, they'll read it. Look, I know he's with you. I know he suffered quite a while before he told you. I'm picking up around about 2 years that I think he'd known that he had the early stages of this illness. I do believe that he truly thought he was going to beat it, and that's why he never shared it with you. I know that's probably no cold comfort, you lost him anyway, but what he's showing me is that he had kept this a secret purely out of love, not out of to be cruel, definitely not. He loves you all, he misses you all, and he hears everything and sees everything, and he just said to me to tell you to give you all a big hug and a big cuddle and tell you he loves you.
Yeah, I talk to him all the time, and I let him know when I can feel him, so it's all good.
Good. So have a conversation with him every night before you go to sleep and tell him how the day's been and what you want to know, and sort of make that your special time like you would have done if he was alive.
Yeah.
Okay, darling, lovely to speak with you, Kelly. You're very, very welcome. We're going to go to Rhiannon in Wollongong. It's Australia Day today, I feel. How are you, Rhiannon?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. How can I help you?
I wanted to ask a few questions to get a reading, love reading, family reading, anything that I could possibly get, I guess.
Okay, so no, but you need to be specific. If you want a love reading, is there somebody in particular you want me to talk about?
My boyfriend I'm currently dating.
Okay, all right.
Why do I feel there's question marks around that relationship? Has there been some issues recently where you've sort of questioned whether or not this is right?
Yes.
I'm going to say to you, don't ignore that, because I still sort of feel that we haven't made a final decision yet whether this is right or wrong. Look, I'm not saying it's a bad situation. I'm just saying what I'm picking up here is I've got 3 question marks, as if I've questioned 3 major things in the last month. And that's sort of like, hang on a minute, is this right or is it wrong? I'm going to say to you, look, I think the answers will come on that by about November. So I want you to sort of just go along with the flow, not try and make any final decision yet. Let's just let things sort of come and go like the tide. And by November, you'll know which way you need to proceed with the relationship. Have you got a change of residence coming up?
Yeah, my lease is about to run out in a couple of months.
Yeah, but I do feel you're going to move. I don't see you staying where you are.
No, I'm wanting to move for a bigger house.
Yeah, I do see that coming. Don't be surprised if they don't bring it forward by a couple of weeks or a month.
Okay.
I just sort of feel where you are now, like the owners want the place back earlier or something like that. They're sort of, I got between 2 and 4 weeks earlier than when the lease finishes. Whether or not they're sort of letting you know that they're not, they're not going to renew the lease because they want to take back possession or something like that. It's sort of like, it suits you because you're going to find somewhere that's perfect. And it's like, good, I can get in there quicker and get settled. So it's not going to be too much of an uphill battle for you in that sort of way.
Oh, good.
If I can jump back to your boyfriend, did he sort of talk about marriage and futures?
Yes, he has.
That's what you're questioning, isn't it? Whether or not it's right.
Yeah, marriage and kids, because we're actually trying to fall pregnant as we speak.
Right, okay. All right, so why are you all right, you're trying to have a baby. Is that where the question marks are, or is it the question marks over the relationship and whether this is the relationship I want long term?
It's a bit of both, but at the moment it's kind of more leaning towards a baby.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be blunt with you. I'm not totally convinced that he's grown up enough to be a dad.
No, that's what I kind of feel at the moment.
Yeah, I think he likes the idea of the potential of being a dad, but I just don't know whether he's emotionally mature enough to be in that role. I mean, look, I don't know whether any of us are until we're presented with it, but that was just what was jumping out at me. This is part of what you're questioning. Look, all I can say is if you're meant to have a baby, it'll happen, and then the universe will show you what's ahead of you. If you're not meant to, well, then it won't happen and you'll make a choice and go a different direction. I know that sounds very wishy-washy, but for the moment, what they're showing me is let's not make any final decisions. Let's just see where things go. Do you know what I mean? Like not put a definite it's going to go this way or that way. Let's just let everything unfold the way it should. I don't see any reasons why you can't fall pregnant. There's nothing there to me that says that you can't fall pregnant for a certain reason, if I can be that blunt, like there's no medical reason or anything like that. So just relax and enjoy the time and just let things take their course. It's the best thing to do. Sometimes I think we get over anxious, when we're trying to fall pregnant. We sort of, it's almost like we're looking at it as a task we've got to complete, like we get very rigid. And I think sometimes that stops pregnancy happening. So I think just relax and enjoy it. Go away for the weekend and have some fun.
Yeah, definitely. We've done that recently, so hopefully it helped.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you've got to start doing things like that. And I often say to people, go and get yourself a new hobby that you throw all your energy into and then watch the pregnancy come in and prevent that from, materialising or seeing it through to the end. It's like the baby then gets in the road because you've put your energies and your focus into something else. And that's sometimes a good diversion when you're trying to get pregnant and nothing's happening because the female body's a funny setup, sometimes when we want something so badly it doesn't happen. But I did feel that there would be the pitter-patter of little feet. I don't think you're going to be deprived of that. I could actually see 3 babies in your future, so you're certainly not missing out.
Great.
So
is it all girls or all boys?
They didn't show me that. They just showed me the 3 pregnancies. Anyway, Rhiannon, that's where we've got to leave it. I'd like to thank everybody that's been watching the show today. Please keep everybody in your prayers for Hurricane Florence. And for anybody that's suffering with grief, I'll mention the name of that book again. It's called On Death and Dying by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She was a grief expert. It's a book that I think every household should have in their bookshelf, at least one copy of. So until next week, enjoy your week, be kind to each other, and don't forget to smile, because smile and love makes the world go round. Bye for now.